Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Little Give. I'm so excited about our guest today. Daniel, go ahead, introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and tell us what you're all about.
Well, my name is Daniel Gomez Inspires, and I'm here from the big city of San Antonio, Texas. And what I'm all about, I love help people. I love giving back. And just the title of your show was just in alignment with me because I believe in life when you're generous, God has a way of being generous back to you also. So it's an honor to be here with you today, Cindy.
I could not agree more with everything you just said. And I love your whole mission and your business, Millionaire Mindset. Why don't you take us back to the beginning and how you got started in this?
Well, in 2017, actually, we just finished our 7-year anniversary. My wife was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2017. And when breast cancer comes knocking on your door, it has a way of scaring many people. But the truth is, my wife took the lead on that because this is what she said, Cindy. She said, I'm not going to allow breast cancer to take control of me, and I'm not going to be negative about it. And she never played the victim. She didn't say, why me? She said, why not me? And because my wife took the lead in that and she ended up having a double mastectomy, she got depressed for a season. Well, in that time frame, I had to make a decision as a husband. Was I going to man up? Was I going to hire somebody to take care of her? Or was I going to resign and take care of her myself? And what I ended up doing, Cindy, is I took care of her, resigned from what I was doing for over 20 years in the automotive industry with the intentions of going back. But the beautiful thing about it is God had different plans for Daniel. And here I am 7 years later, and we have four major trademarks: Sticker Shock, The Makings of a Millionaire Mind. We just launched our new division, formerly on its own pillar now, DGE Publishing. And then, of course, our major brand, which is Daniel Gomez Inspires with our Shield of Faith. So it's been an amazing story. If you would have told me, Cindy, 8 years ago that I was going to be where I'm at today, I would have never believed it. I would have said, you got the wrong guy, Cindy. But those were our humble beginnings, and we're grateful to be here today with you.
Wow, what an incredible story. I love having people on the show that take their pain and turn it into power to help others. And I know that's something that's really big on your heart and something you've really worked hard on with building this business and also inspiring other people and helping others grow through whatever season they're going through. So talk a little bit more about that and how you are enjoying this new life you've built.
What happened to me was I didn't realize how much pain I had inside of me as a man. I think here in San Antonio, as I was growing up, as a Mexican, we're taught to be tough. You're taught, I think men in general too, right? Don't cry, don't express your emotions. And I just like every other man, I grew up with that thought process. So when my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer and I was there, the busyness of life was gone. 100 employees was gone. It was just Daniel and Daniel in the mirror because my wife was recovering from her breast cancer for almost 4 or 5 months. She had like three major surgeries back to back to back. So she was on the couch downstairs because she didn't want to go up and down the stairs. And as I was there, like the busyness of life was gone. And I think when the busyness of life leaves you, it's you and just you. And I didn't realize how much work I needed. And I think I can relate. One thing that I believe in is I'm qualified to go and coach and help the old Daniel because I know what shame feels like. I know what regret feels like. I know what, just unforgiveness feels like. And what I realize now and what we do is there's a lot of men and women that walk around with shame, guilt, and unforgiveness. And the person they need to forgive is themselves. And I have forgiven myself probably like two or three times at a deeper level. And I didn't realize how much pain I had inside of me. And I think that when I realized that it just opened up the world for me because it puts a lid on your life. And most people wonder, well, why is my life stuck? Why is my business not growing? And just becoming one of the top business coaches now 4 years in a row here in South Texas, I realized that the business owner is a problem, right? If your business has a problem, who's the problem? Well, the business owner is because he's the situation, right? Or she is because they have something that they haven't dealt with. And in our book, The Makings of a Millionaire Mind, I call it, right, they sweep it under the rug. And what I say in the chapter is don't sweep it under the rug. Deal with it. And the thing is this is we think, it's not gonna bother me, Cindy. Oh, it's not gonna bother me, ladies and gentlemen. But the truth is, the more stuff we sweep under the rug, it's going to come back up and surface at some point in your life, and we just don't realize it. We if we ignore it, we think it goes away. But you and I both know this, Cindy. The truth is, it doesn't go away.
That is so true. Oh my goodness. And so the fact that you had the ability to look back at your life and say, hold on a second, what's going on with me that is keeping me where I'm at? What was the first step that you took to actually address those concerns and figure out what was going on and what the deeper rooted issues were?
You have to be honest with yourself. You can lie to him, her, the person in front of you, but you you can't lie to yourself inside. You can't lie to yourself when you look yourself in the mirror. And you just got to be honest. And once you start being honest with yourself, and what I mean by that is sometimes we tend to play the victim and when we don't even realize it. And I'm gonna say this because I think we need to hear this today. I'm happy right now. You know why I'm happy right now? Because I've celebrated 6 weeks sober. And not that I was an alcoholic or drank too much, but I was challenged by a friend of mine, and they prayed over me and said, if you really want God to move in your business in 2025 in your life, give him 6 months sober and see what he's gonna do. So I took the challenge, right? Because I realized, like, Daniel, you're the problem. Like, your business is doing great, but you're not going to this other level because you're refusing to change in this one small part of your business. And when I really took it into prayer and just asked myself, is this true? Man, I said, I need a change. And I made a decision that I'm not going to drink any wine. And, we live here in San Antonio, South Texas. There's margaritas at every corner because it's like drinking a Coke. And when I came to the reality that I needed to change even more, right? And the key word is this, because whenever I'm coaching somebody, they get defensive right away, saying, they say, well, I know I'm doing that. I'm doing that. Well, no one says you're not doing that, ladies and gentlemen. But what if you give even more effort in this, or you
Mhm.
stop doing this little thing even more? And the even more is where the breakthroughs happen to the next level. It's like water. Water doesn't boil at 211 degrees. You can say, well, the water's hot. Great. In your life. Awesome. But what if you're stuck at 211 degrees in your life and your business, and you're missing that 1 degree to really make it steam? And we both know this, Cindy, that boiling water is great, but it doesn't have the power to move a locomotive. But when the water becomes 212 degrees, now you got steam that can move an engine down the track, and the train won't be stopped. Can't be stopped because now it has the power behind it.
Yeah. So what's keeping you from getting that one more degree, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Do you find that sometimes people end up giving up too soon? Like a lot of people, I've heard them say, well, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and it's just not working. And sometimes I'll tell people like, well, if you go to the gym and you work out for an hour, you're not going to come out with abs. You have to keep putting in the reps. You have to keep putting in the work. You can't just expect it to happen overnight. Is that something that you've had to coach some people through in your journey?
every day. I'm looking behind you. You have beautiful plants, right? You probably have 3 or 4 plant specimens behind you. But the reason I bring that up is because every plant is unique. If you plant a watermelon seed, that's going to grow at a different rate than what you plant an apple seed at.
Hmm.
Somebody plants an acorn, now it's a mighty oak tree, and we all know that oak trees take forever to grow. So what I tell people is, okay, well, do you want to be a radish that's going to be planted, and the radish grows full grown within 6 to 8 weeks, but it also dies within 6 to 8 weeks once it reaches maturity. So the thing is this: do you want to be a radish in business, get instant results, but you don't have the root system to support it, or do you want to be that mighty oak that's it's going to take longer to grow and generate and become what it needs to become, your business, but now you have the root system, now you have the strength in your trunk to support when, because the truth is this: adversity is going to come in your business, and you and I both know this because we've been in
Hmm.
business well over a season now. But the truth is this: is most people, when the adversity comes, they self-sabotage because they don't handle the pressure right, and they crumble under it because they don't have the right root system. Because they want to look like they want to look like the mighty oak, but in reality they're a radish because they don't have the proper foundation. And I say, look, you have to be patient because you're unique. Every seed that we plant is going to bloom, it's going to blossom at a different speed. And people, what happens is you get stuck in the comparison game, and you look at
Hmm.
somebody else's garden and you're like, well, her garden looks amazing. Why doesn't mine look like that? And we try to mimic it. But guess what? If the roots ain't ready, it's going to die. It's going to crumble under pressure.
Hi, my name is Justin Clark, and I'm the president of the board of directors for Driving Single Parents, a 501c3 nonprofit serving the citizens of San Antonio and Bexar County, Texas. I'm here today to tell you a little bit about the great work that our organization is doing for the citizens of San Antonio. What you're about to see is just a few photos and videos of the way that we're changing lives for single parents in and around San Antonio, Texas. Our first giveaway took place in April of 2017, just one short month after the formation of our organization. John, a Bexar County resident, was the victim of a horrible drunk driver incident. He and his daughter survived the crash, and we were so proud to give our first car to this deserving family. Fast forward to 2020, a very difficult year for nonprofits. We were able to secure 4 vehicles for single parents in need. Our organization, including our board of directors, list of partners, and portfolio of people we've been able to help in San Antonio, continues to grow, and it's all thanks to donors and local community organizations that have helped us along the way. This giveaway took place in 2021 and shows that we continue to help single parents even after the struggles brought about by COVID-19. Because of limited funds and the overwhelming need, we at Driving Single Parents are incredibly selective with the people we help. Some are victims of domestic violence. Others had a spouse pass away tragically or otherwise fell on hard times. These single parents show adversity in the face of challenge and aren't looking for a handout. We offer a hand up and help get them back in the driver's seat. Many of the single parents we help go on to graduate college, get promotions, get married, mentor others, and some have even been so touched by the gift we gave them that they have decided to join our board of directors to pay it forward and ensure the continued growth of our organization. If you would like to help our organization continue to grow and continue to help single parents in need in San Antonio, Texas, and Bexar County, Texas, we would really appreciate your support. Please visit us online at www.drivingsingleparents.org. Thank you.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things is I do believe I mean, I know it's a large portion of businesses that end up going out of business within the first 5 years. Is that something you really help people through? Is that little season where they could either grow or die? And then do you figure out how to help them get to the next level when it comes to that?
Yeah, the beautiful thing is I myself, I ran a multi-million-dollar organization. We had over 100 employees. So I understand brick and mortar businesses. And I say that because there's a lot of businesses now or coaches or certain businesses that are online and they don't, right? They don't have a brick and mortar, but it's a totally different when you have a brick and mortar and you do have people that you are responsible for. So it takes a different mindset. So we help businesses really kill that employee mindset and help them put in the processes and the procedures that they need. Because one thing that I realize is I don't care what type of business you have out there, no business is going to survive without revenue. No business will survive without revenue. And the truth is this is most businesses don't have a sales process in place. They don't have a cross sell system in place. They don't have a follow-up system in place. They don't have any type of system in place. And then they wonder why their numbers are down. They wonder why their business isn't growing or scaling. It's because, well, guess what? Let me give you an example. I went into this computer store and I'm like, okay, well, what's your follow-up system? They're like, well, what do you mean? Yeah, like somebody comes in and would you say they don't buy $1,000 computer? Like, how do you follow up with them? Well, we don't. I'm like, well, what do you mean you don't? They're like, well, we don't have we don't. I'm like, well, y'all just sit here all day hoping people come in. And the mistake that people make is, well, you know what? I get up a website and I get my sign outside my brick and mortar and I'm in business, which is, yeah, but there's no procedures, there's no follow-up, there's no sales skills in place, there's nothing, and they wonder why they go out of business. So we really help organizations at different levels to really understand what is it. Because one thing that I do in there, we do an assessment before we start working with the business and really kind of put the foundation down. And people need to understand that there has to be the proper foundation. And if you don't have the right strategies, the right sales process, or you have the wrong team members, right? So many times people don't follow their dreams. They're scared to follow their dreams because they don't have the right people in the right seats, and they wonder why Why is my business not working? Why is it not? And I show them also, right? Maybe you need to learn how to speak to your people. They're like, well, what do you mean? What's the tonality that you're using on a daily basis? And there's so many leaders out there that they speak their own language. And something that you got to learn how to do in business is you got to speak to the language of your employees. Because if you don't speak to the language of your employees, that's the reason that over 70% of corporate employees are disengaged. I'm saying again, because leadership refuses to speak the language of their employees, of their team members. That is why over 70% of employees are disengaged, because you're not speaking their language. And we go in there with our tonality, with our personality type, speaking our language. And that's why 75% of people tune out, because we're missing three-fourths of the other people.
Oh my goodness, I could not agree more. I say this all the time that leadership really has to be flexible because every person is a different and unique human being. And although they're working for you, it's important for you to be able to relate to them on their level and then help them understand how to carry on their business in a way that they understand. If you just bark orders to your team, it's not going to work for everyone. And so I think it's really important to personalize your abilities, your leadership abilities. And I think that's kind of what you're saying. I know for me in my business, I'm really specific about, I know this person learns more in writing. She needs everything in writing. And this person responds better on a phone call. And this person responds better if I send voice notes. So I know how my employees work and I cater to that, not because I say I bow down to you, but because as a team, the goal is to work together to make sure our mission is carried out. And I think that's really important. And I do agree with you that a lot of employers miss that piece, that mark of treating each person like a human being and like an individual.
Yeah. So like I'll ask you this. So, and right, Cindy, you wouldn't go to China speaking in Spanish, would you? And
No,
you wouldn't go to France speaking in German?
no.
So why do we as leaders go into our business speaking the wrong language, and then we wonder why there's a lack of communication? Because
Hmm.
the same way, if you're that, if we'll just say if you're that driver personality, that natural born leader, and the person you go into that first morning, she's in the other quadrant as an amiable, right? That nurturer, really
Hmm.
soft spoken. Well, if your tonality is up here, by default, she's gonna right. She's gonna tune you out because
Right.
you're scaring her or him, even a him. And it's not that they're purposely reacting that way. I think the biggest mistake that most leadership and business owners make is you got to understand, write this down. If you take anything from this show, your personality is part of your DNA. You don't choose your personality. You don't choose the language that you speak in because it's part of your DNA, right? I didn't choose to be Hispanic. You didn't choose to be your skin color. We didn't choose to be who we were, right? I didn't choose to be 5'7". I wish I was a little bit taller, but my height is part of my DNA. Was the same
Hmm.
way our height is part of our DNA. Your personality, ladies and gentlemen, is part of your DNA. And then, well, let's go back in time as a mom and dad, right? As kids, this is a mistake that many parents and because as I coach people, right, we make decisions as adults today as the child we were, right? Let me say it
Hmm.
again. We make decisions today as the child we were. So along your journey of growing up, if we heard this, a lot of us have heard it in some form or fashion, either with for us or another person, right? Why can't you be more like your sister, Cindy? Why can't you be more like your brother, Daniel? Why can't you be more like XYZ? Now you're comparing somebody, so you're teaching them to dim their light, but we don't have the same personality as our brother or sister. And then a bigger mistake that we make, if we have two daughters, now we try to mother or father our two daughters exactly alike. But the truth is, even though they're both female daughters, they're totally different personalities. And if you're speaking the wrong language to the other personality, that's where a lot of people felt lost. And that's why people go, right, they feel they don't belong in their own family, so they go and they do other things, and that's not healthy. We'll just say that.
I'm so glad you touched on that because it's so true. I have 6 kids, and every single one of my kids have a different personality. Each one, I had to parent a little different. Every time I thought I got it figured out, oh, then I had the next one with a different personality. And I think that's really important to be able to, not just with leadership, but also like you're saying with your kids, to learn that each child is unique and individual and parent them as who they are versus trying to blank slate everyone and saying, in my business, I treat everyone the exact same. And in my family, everybody the exact same, because of our unique abilities, our needs are also unique. So I love that you touched on that. Is that something that you talk about a lot whenever you're speaking?
Yes, so as a matter of fact, we have there's a corporate training. We did it for actually the HEB Foundation, where we do it part of our communication training, because a lot of times there's miscommunication within the team, and we think we believe this as truth, that, oh, so and so's this way because that's just right, they're being rude. Well, no, they're not being rude. It's their personality. So when we bring people and we do the role playing with them, and they're like, what, like, I never even knew that. And it's amazing when we do these corporate trainings on communication, we've actually seen not just businesses improve, Cindy, but I've seen it on 2 or 3 different occasions where a wife or a husband will start, they're crying inside this corporate training, and this is a corporate environment. They're crying and they're saying, that's why my wife's that way. That's why my husband responds that way. I thought they were doing that on purpose. And when I speak on this and I train on this, I've seen marriages healed. I've seen mother, daughter, and right, mother and daughter and son relationships restored, because we're speaking the wrong language in our communication. And when you learn that a certain personality speaks, acts, and walks a certain way, right? Like, think about this. Let me give you a scenario. We all are here in South Texas. There's a big company called HEB. We can all say we go to HEB at some point in our day, or Walmart, we'll say, and you park up and there's nowhere to park, and you finally see somebody come out. They're getting in their car, and it just happens that that person gets in their car, and it seems to take like 10 months before they leave that parking. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it takes them forever to leave that parking spot. Why? Because that person is on the analytical side. They're on the factual side of personalities. On vice versa, we've had the same scenario played out. Somebody gets in their car, and as soon as they get in, they leave in 10 seconds because they're on the other side where they're faster pace. So when you learn the characteristics and the traits of each personality, now you're able to communicate and really connect with them at a deeper level. And that's even more powerful in our own homes, because now we understand why my husband's this way, my wife's this way, my kids act this way, my daughter's this way. They don't do it on purpose, because we all have our unique personality. When you learn how to communicate to the personality, that's where breakthroughs happen in home and especially in business.
I totally agree. Communication is just so, so important, all walks of life with people all over the world. I think that's so important. So tell us, Daniel, how did you get so good at communication?
Trial and error. I mean, by no means did I arrive overnight. Like I said, I was in the automotive industry for over 20 years, and I was blessed to. I started at the bottom and in automotive, but prior to that, I used to work at this interior landscaping company where we would go and we would do it. George Strait's house, we do David Robinson's house. It was called Plant Interscapes, and Michael sent us to school, right? He believed in investing in his employees. And I would have stayed with them forever, but my father ended up getting sick, ended up passing away. So I left. When I left Planet Interscapes, I was really lost, because to me, I was going to be there forever. And when I started in the automotive industry, I remembered a lot of things I had learned in reference to communication prior in customer service, where I just took what I knew, and then next thing you know, I exploded, and it was natural to me because I understood people. And growing up in the automotive industry even more, it's like you got to learn customer service. And then now there's a huge sales aspect of it. And not to sell, right? So many people have the wrong interpretation of sales. We just released our new book called Sales Accelerator, and I talk about this. In Sales Accelerator, we talk about really, you're solving a problem for a client, you're solving a problem for them. And when you realize that sales is just solving problems for people, there's millions of people that have problems out there. And when you learn how to solve them and communicate to their language, guess what? They're going to exchange money for that. And you got to understand that it's okay, because people, think about this: the bigger the problems we solve in this world, the more they're willing to pay you for it. And ask a person who needs a filling. You know what? I'm okay. I don't want to pay the $40. I won't pay it. But then that filling gets infected. It doesn't get done. You come back a week later. Now it's infected. They can't eat. I'm telling you, because I went through this. Now I got $1,000 bill. Pay it. I should have just paid the $40. But you just, human beings, right? If the problem is tolerable, it's never going to change. So The bigger the problem, the more specific the problem, then the bigger the swap is as far as them paying you for what you're doing in your business. And you got to learn the bigger the problem. So don't be intimidated by big problems. So many times people come to us with bigger problems and we think it's a negative. No, it's a positive. Become a great problem solver, and I guarantee you, you'll be successful in life and you'll be successful in business, Cindy.
Hi, my name is Andrew Fraley, and I believe that sometimes we all need a little bit of help. If you're in the San Antonio community and you need some legal help, call me at 210-725-4658.
I love that. I love that. I know that you do a lot of speaking. And of course, the audience can already tell just by the way you talk that you're a speaker. Tell us a bit about that journey and how you ended up not just becoming a speaker, but also now you teach people to speak. I have a huge fear of public speaking. I get super nervous when everybody turns and looks at me. So, talk to us a bit about that journey.
When my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer, and really, I was really planning on going back to the automotive industry. And God just downloaded to me, I want you to go out there and speak to the world. And I really didn't understand like the speaking business to say, but I said, well, what do I know how to do? Well, when I ran the Chevrolet dealership for many years, even though I ran it, even though we had 100 employees, I personally still love to do the Monday meetings. So God reminded me, Daniel, you've been speaking for the past 10 years. Every Monday, you've been training the team, speaking over and over. So sometimes we're doing something, Cindy, and we don't even realize what we're doing. So when I came out and had time to think about it, and God reminded me of this, I said, well, start where you're at. And I just really just went and took action. I think most opportunities in speaking are lost, or in business or in life, because of inaction, right? The biggest lie that we've been told as kids is knowledge is power. No, it's not knowledge is power. It's the activation and the application of the knowledge that you have. Because if you don't activate it, ain't anything going to happen. So what I did is I invested in my first program. I figured, well, I need help. I don't understand. I know how to speak, but okay, I need to learn more. So I hired a mentor. I hired my first coach, and then I went to this event. And when I was there, I was introduced to our first author I ever met. And he, not that he was a famous author, but it was a new environment to me. So I think when I was really looking for the new, you got to understand this, is that wherever God's taking you in life or business, you have to be willing to put yourself in new environments. So when I was becoming a speaker, I went to the speaking event, and next thing you know, it's like my filter changed in my mind. And the great analogy I can give you to that is kind of like when you buy a car, Cindy. You buy a new car, now you see your new car everywhere. Well, your new car, would say it was a Honda Camry or a Mercedes Benz. Those cars were always there. You just didn't see it because the filter hadn't shifted yet. So once I shifted my filter to the speaking world, then opportunities came my way. Then the big break for me came when I trained in the United States Air Force. And I thought it was a gimmick. I got a phone call and they're like, hey, is this Daniel Gomez? I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, we want you to do a leadership training. Are you available on this date? And I'm like, who's this? And they're like, sir, this is Staff Master Sergeant. I'm like, I thought he was joking. I said, no. I said, no, really, I'm going to hang up the phone. Who's this? He goes, sir, is this Daniel Gomez? I said, how did you find me? He goes, we Googled leadership and we found your website and we like what we see. We want to bring you in. Are you willing to do it? And I was like, my life changed after that, because now my motto was this: if I can speak and present and train the United States Air Force officers, right? NCO Academy, what can I not do for your organization? If I can add value to them, I can add value to you. And that's where my speaking career really blew up. And it just, I was getting paid to speak. And this is a mistake that I made. I thought everybody was getting paid to speak, and they weren't. I was one of the few, because I understood, right? I took the business wisdom that I had from the automotive and I applied it to speaking. So then when 2020 happened, it was a big blessing to us, because first of all, right off the bat, it was hardship, because Cindy, I lost over $40,000 in paid speaking engagements, just like that. From March 15th to March 20th, I lost $45,000 in paid speaking engagements. Now I was stuck. What was I going to do? God gave me the idea of Sticker Shock Speaking Academy. And I told it to my old partner. I said, man, I said, God gave me this idea. What do you think? I thought he was going to tell me I was stupid and crazy. I love it. Let's do it. That summer, July of 2020, we had over 22 people come in from Baltimore, from California, from Florida, because San Antonio, Texas was one of the only few cities opened up in the nation. And we all know by July, people were tired of being at home with their kids. People were tired of being at home with their husbands, with their wives. So they flocked over here, and we had our first sticker shock. And the rest, they say, like in show business, the rest is history. Now we've been doing it twice a year, every year since 2020. We're about to have our 10th one. Actually, there was one year we did an extra one, but it's just amazing. I took the idea and I ran with it, and now, right, most speakers fail because they want to speak. We teach speakers how to build a speaking business, two totally different things. And when you learn to monetize your story and really charge for your services, because this is the biggest mistake that most aspiring speakers make, is that they feel guilty for wanting to charge them. I'm like, they're not paying you for the 45 or the hour of your time. They're paying you for the decades of wisdom that you've put yourself through the college you've put yourself through, in your case, and like all these things. They're paying you for all these, and right, you've invested 100,000, 200,000 in your education. That's what they're paying you for. So don't feel guilty. But you realize as you're going through this process of training speakers and even our authors, that imposter syndrome is a real thing. So
Yeah.
we coach a lot of these people, a lot of these authors, a lot of these speakers through it, because next thing you know, they self-sabotage, and they don't even know what's happening. So it's amazing how when you come, and we just had Joseph Peck come in here in September, amazing young gentleman, beautiful person. He came and he left within 2 weeks. He got a $20,000 paid speaking engagement. He was very excited. So nothing just makes me happier is not when, right, it's great that we succeed as an organization at DGE Enterprises, but when we see our clients succeed at that level. Michelle Hoskins from San Antonio, Texas, now she runs, she's the executive director of the master leadership program here in San Antonio, and a lot of her success now in speaking, she attributes it to San Antonio, to Sticker Shock Speaking Academy when she came in San Antonio. And it's amazing what our speakers have gone out and do. And it just brings me so much joy, because it's about everybody's success, not just Daniel Gomez's success.
Oh, I love that. I think it's so neat how you decided, like, oh, just all of a sudden, okay, I'm going to do this. And then look at all the people you're helping now. I
Yeah.
also love the name of when you talk about millionaire mindset, because I think mindset has a lot to do with it. I know you're talking about speaking and self sabotage and imposter syndrome and all those things. And a lot of that kind of comes back to that mindset component. Tell us why you decided to name your business Millionaire Mindset.
Well, when I wrote the book, The Makings of a Millionaire Mind, everything changed, because I realized that people have the wrong thinking. You don't realize it, because put it this way, there's no effort in thinking. And I want you to, what do I mean by that? Write this number down, ladies and gentlemen. 95%. 95% of my life, of Cindy's life, of your life is on autopilot. And you don't even realize that when you get in a car, you just get in your car and drive. When you got in the shower this morning and you showered, did you have to think about, am I going to wash my hair first? Am I going to brush my teeth or my body? No, you just did it because you're conditioned. We're creatures of habit. So in the makings of a millionaire mind, what I really realized was that people have the wrong relationship with money. Many people think in a poverty consciousness. But the bigger thing that I realized even more, Cindy, was that most people that are broke and poor is because they have a poor self-image of themselves. So when they come to our boot camp, the makings of a millionaire mind, we hold it twice a year also. I see so many breakthroughs in people's self-image and their self-esteem, because if you have a poor self-image of who you are, then you're never going to have a successful life. If you have a poor self-image of who you are as a human being, as a business owner, then you're never going to have a successful business. So the mindset of how you see yourself is everything, because this is the truth. You, ladies and gentlemen, you're the lid of your life. You're the lid of your business. So if you haven't hit $1 million in revenue in your business, it's because you, right? You're never gonna write this down. Your net worth is never gonna outgrow your self-worth. Let me say it again. Your net worth is never gonna outgrow your self-worth. And we help people with that in our coaching, Cindy, and we help them in our live event, the Makings of a Millionaire Boot Camp, because it's a process of going from here to really let them know that, hey, you have a poverty consciousness. We need to get you to the millionaire mind. And how we do that is really, it starts with the insight. What is your core belief? What do you really believe about yourself? What do you really believe about who you are as a human being. Do you love yourself? Do you have a poor self-image? And then second, then the money factor comes, because the money's never going to come unless you fix how you see yourself. And the problem is many people work on the money aspect of it, and then they have a poor self-image, and then they lose it, because that's what happens to lottery winners. The lottery winners don't have a capacity to receive that much success. So that's why most lottery winners are broke within 3 to 4 years, because they don't have the capacity to receive at those higher levels, Cindy.
Ah, that makes so much sense. I know I always say that too, is you need to have your mindset in the right place to be able to receive and then know how to deal with money once you get it. And if you don't, or you're not in the right space for that, then you're not going to be able to manage the money that you do get if you do get money. So I think that that's a great valid point.
Yeah.
So I
So
know,
think about this. I think women, right, dress up nicely, and you're a female. I've seen this over and over. When you give someone a nice compliment, hey, nice earrings, Cindy, or you tell a woman, right, you go to a woman and say, oh, that's a beautiful blouse, and I see it all the time. And then what does that person usually say? Oh, I bought it on sale at Ross, or I bought it on sale. Or no one asked you where you bought it at. No one asked you if you bought it on sale. So what they did right there is they deflected a compliment, because you gave them a compliment. So if people can't even receive a compliment, Cindy, how can they receive at the millionaire level, which is a lot higher than just a compliment?
makes so much sense. And I hear that all the time. As soon as I say something nice to someone about what they're wearing or their hair or anything, they're right away, they always deflect. You're so right. You're so right in that way. So
And
what about the audiobook? I know that you have a new audiobook division coming out, or you're working on that. Tell us a bit about that and how that got started.
I'm super excited. I was talking to your
Me too.
producer before we got started, and I was just like, I was nervous, because we did our first audiobook, The Makings of a Millionaire Mind, 2 years ago. And now with Sales Accelerator, I was in the studios. We have our studios here in San Antonio. We recorded last Friday and Saturday, and just it was amazing, just recording the book version of Sales Accelerator, and audiobook. And I love it, because a big portion of book publishing now is going to the audio version, because we listen to it like podcasting, which has grown tremendously. So people are working out. They don't want to read a book to say. They would rather listen to a book. So at DGE Publishing now, if you need a book in audio, we can get your book on Audible. So reach out to us. We'd love to help you with that. Send us an email at daniel@danielgomezspeaker.com. And we do when I say we do everything here at DGE Publishing, we do your audio book. We upload it to Audible for you. We do your interior design, exterior design. And the beautiful thing about doing your book with us is, you as the author, you own all the rights to your book, and all the royalties. Let me say this even louder. All the royalties go into your bank account, not ours. And I say that because I remember when I wrote my second book, the royalties went to the publishers first, and then they distributed it to us, and I wasn't getting paid, and I was frustrated. I was wondering what happened. It was a large investment, so I understand the pain that someone that makes an investment in a book that goes through. So the way we structure our model here is take care of the author first, and then God will take care of you on the back end. And that's why we've been successful with our book publishing, and it's grown tremendously in 2024. And I'm excited about the new product that we have with the audiobook, because it's something that I just write. I was telling your producer that I was running from it myself, but it's another level of growth. It's one thing to do a book in paperback and Kindle. It's awesome, but when you do the audio version, it's even priceless. So I'm excited to offer the world the audiobook version of DGE Publishing.
Oh, I'm so excited about that. And in fact, I heard you talking to the producer about this. So I went and downloaded your Millionaire Mind book right before I came on this recording, because personally do not like to read books, but I love audibles. I know it sounds so ridiculous for me to say I don't like to read an actual book because I'm a 5-time best-selling author, but I really don't. I like to listen to the audible because I don't sit still for long. And so I think audibles are just so much better for me and busy people in general. And like you said, podcasting and audiobooks kind of go a little bit hand in hand. So I really do enjoy that. So I'm grateful that you do have that available. And I also know several people who might be interested in your service. So I'll definitely be sending them your way.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And what the whole thing is pertaining to business. I could have been comfortable and said, well, we do enough. We do Kindle, we do paperback, we have the hard copy, we're done. But as a business, ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand, if you're a business owner out there watching this amazing episode of Little Give, you must be evolving as a business owner. The moment you become stagnant, this is what happens. You start going backwards. Let me say it again. Once you become stagnant and you get comfortable in the whatever level of success you are, right? If you're not being creative, you're disintegrating. Listen to that. If you're not being creative, you're disintegrating. If you're not growing, you're dying. So what product do you have that you can bring to the marketplace that they need? Like so many people don't realize this, Cindy, is that there's many times, think about this, right? We're a publisher, DGE Publishing behind me. We had a product within the product, and it's only to solve a bigger problem for y'all. So even though we did book publishing, we didn't do audiobooks for Audible. Now we do. So now we're solving another problem for our clientele. Because if they don't get it from you, guess what? They're going to get it from somebody. So if you already have a customer help that you're serving, why wouldn't you try to grow yourself as a business owner and evolve and provide another service? And when you do that, you realize, like, man, because what happens, Cindy, is the strategies that worked last year, they're not going to work this year. Because I can tell you many things that we did in 2018, 2017 when we started, half the stuff we don't even do it anymore because it doesn't work anymore.
Yep. And that's so true. You got to be willing to grow and evolve and change. And sometimes people say, I'm just going to keep doing this because it works. And it does work at a certain level, but you're going to stay at that level until you pivot a little bit and then you can move to the next level. So I'm glad that you shared that. One of the big things I want to ask you is obviously you spoke in the beginning of this episode about your humble beginnings. So what I want the audience to gather is that you don't have to be born rich. You don't have to be born in a certain place at a certain time or to be successful. Can you give a little bit of insight to the audience that no matter where you're at right now, that you can get to where you want to grow to?
Well, I think as a great Zig Ziglar, one thing that a quote when I was getting going is his quote was, "You don't have to be great to start, ladies and gentlemen." But the great Zig Ziglar said, "You do have to start to be great. Start where you're at. Start with what you got." So many people, they minimize, they undervalue the value they bring, first of all, as a human being, and then they minimize what they're capable of doing. Stop overthinking it. Stop trying to have the right plan. I want you to think about, I want you to write this down. Over planning kills your dreams. Over planning kills your opportunities. So the best thing to do is just take action. I'm not saying be reckless, but use wisdom. Don't overplan and just start where you're at. There's never going to be, if you would have told me 7 years ago when we started that we were going to be doing book publishing, I would have said, you're crazy. Like, what do you mean? I don't even know anything about book publishing. If you would have told me when we started 7 years ago that we were going to have one of the top speaking academies in the world with Sticker Shock, we have people that come in from Canada, from Mexico, from all over the world. Like, I would have never believed it. I just started as a motivational speaker, speaking for free, speaking at high schools, speaking for colleges, and then before you know it, before the year was up, we made over 100,000 in speaking because I started where I was at. Start with what you have, and write this down. I don't know who needs to hear this out there with your audience, but God blesses the moving target, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're not moving, then God can't bless you. So give God something to bless and watch what He'll do in your life and watch what He'll do with your business. Start with what you got.
Wow. Okay. On that note, I think this is the perfect time to pivot to my little give questions. That was so beautiful. Can you give the audience an example of a little thing that they can do in their community that might just be a little give on their end, but might make a big impact on the other side?
Compliment. Make it a goal that when you wake up, I want you to have a little piggy bank of 3 compliments every single day. And every day, every morning, as the same way you decide which shirt, which blouse you're going to wear, make it a cognitive decision that you're going to give 3 compliments. And I mean sincere compliments. Don't give smart aleck compliments, but give a genuine compliment to a woman, a man, even your children. And you're going to see that when you tell them, man, you look amazing today, or wow, I love your watch, or oh, ma'am, that's a beautiful purse, whatever the compliment may be, let it be real, let it be genuine. And you're going to see the smiles that it's going to bring. And that's going to cause a ripple effect. Would you say somebody was having a bad morning and you see somebody at the coffee shop and you say, oh, by the way, ma'am, I love your blouse. That's a beautiful blouse. Now you made her smile. Now, as she walks into her office or her business, if she's a business owner, her whole attitude changed because somebody A recognized her, so she felt important, and B, somebody was kind to her, and now she's going to pay it forward. So you don't even realize the powerful effect of the ripple. right? The ripple effect that a compliment has. So you have 3 compliments and watch the huge impact you're going to make in people's lives.
It's a great example. Ripple effect all over. That's what little gives are all about. Can you give the audience an example of a time in your life where somebody did something little for you that might have just been, a little give on their end, but really made an impact on you and in your life?
It was just yesterday. I was traveling yesterday, and we were just kind of getting ready to come back home. And that a friend of ours called, said, "Hey, what are y'all doing? Well, we're packing up. We're getting ready to leave. We're gonna get an Uber." And they're like, "What do you mean you're gonna get an Uber?" I'm like, "No, we're gonna get an Uber." They're like, "No, you're not gonna get an Uber. We're gonna pick you up." I'm like, "No, it's okay, Arlette. We're gonna take an Uber. Daniel, we'll be there. We'll see you at 11:30." Sure enough, they were there. I mean, they just made us feel important. So many times we travel a lot, and it's raining, it's cold, whatever the scenarios may be as far as weather condition goes. But when someone went out of their way like they did yesterday, it just, like, I was like, wow. Like, and she could have dropped us off at the corner at the airport. I said, "No, this is good." She goes, "No, I'm going to take you to the front." So it just really made me feel like appreciative, I guess. Appreciated is the word. And I'm grateful. I told my wife, "Wow, like, like, maybe we need to be a little bit more appreciative of the people that come into our events too, because let's just face it. Sometimes we're busy being busy, and you got to be a little bit more compassionate and understanding." So just yesterday, someone took us from our hotel to the airport in El Paso, and it was really a blessing, because just the experience we had on the ride over there too, and the conversations. And I think that most people, when they go to events like me and you, it was great that we met at the event, but really we connected in the smaller conversations, because we sat next to each other and then in the hallways. And I think people need to understand that when you go to an event, or you're at a conference or wherever it may be for work related, that the real connections are made in those more intimate moments. So give yourself those intimate moments.
Love it. Yeah, you just never know what it's going to be. And that simple ride that you received meant so much to you. And they were just, being courteous. So it's just amazing how those little things really can add up. And one of the big missions I have with this TV show is to show people you don't need to donate $10,000 to make a difference. You don't need to go and donate a week of your time. There's something little you can do each and every day in your community that can make an impact. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Going forward onto our giving, can you talk about a nonprofit that you're excited about?
Well, going back to my wife being diagnosed with breast cancer in 2017, so when this happened, um, no one would help us, right? And we had a little bit of a savings account, but what I mean by that is, when you have radiation, when you have medication, you're above your regular copays of it. This was with insurance. We were still spending, like, I don't know, $500 a week. It was a lot. So we go to a nonprofit for help, and you got to wait 90 days. I'm like, well, in 90 days, I'm not going to need help. Because of that, God put it in our heart to start our nonprofit, and we did that in 2018. The Mighty Strong Foundation was founded, which is after my wife's name. So we support women with breast cancer, and we've given back thousands of dollars to our community here in San Antonio and South Texas. And really, the qualification is you have to live within Bexar County. But just to see the results that these women get, but just by whether it's helping them with their light bill, or helping them with groceries, or whether it's with the chemotherapy payment, whatever it is that we're able to do, the Mighty Strong Foundation gives back to women impacted by breast cancer. And it's beautiful when you see their smiles. And the process is, when they come and they ask for assistance, we don't wait 90 days. Usually our turnaround times within a week, because we know the emergency of it. Because a $500 um, sponsorship of a someone can make a big difference if someone's going through that breast cancer journey, because we know what it's like. So we love to help people. So the Mighty Strong Foundation, we help women. And yes, men have breast cancer too, whether you never didn't think of that. But if you're a male, we help men also. But the thing is this, is that because of your support, your all's donation here in San Antonio and South Texas, we've been able to help just hundreds of women really know that they're not alone, and they don't have to wait the 90 days at like other places. Within a week, where we either have a yes, or we can, or no, we can't. But at least most of the time it's a yes. So we're there to fill the gap for them.
What a beautiful nonprofit. You just never cease to amaze me, Daniel, not only with your story and everything that you've gone through and grown through with your business, but also to find this need that you had at one point and fulfill that for somebody else really makes it's a special person who does something like that, who takes the action when you see a need and you find a way to meet it. So thank you so much for sharing about that nonprofit. That is beautiful. If somebody out there wanted to get involved, maybe they want to make a donation, what could they do to do that?
Well, they can go to the website, themightystrongfoundation.com, and just go to our donate, and they can donate $20, $100, $500, or right. There's a lot of businesses that need to get rid of some extra cash they have for the holidays for donations. You can donate up to $1,000 on our website, and we welcome it because you're giving back to women that need help. You're giving back to people that need. I mean, what we don't realize is that whether it's a $25 donation, you're going to help somebody out, and I think of just this one lady that we were able to help, and we sponsored her. We drove to her house by Jefferson High School, and she cried because she just says it's good to know that there's good people out there. And believe me and Madi cried many times on our journey, right? Her breast cancer, from they diagnosed to where she got healed finally, her last surgery was 4 years. So 4 years of us going through this hardship, we know what it's like. So we drive to people's houses, and we drive to let them know that, hey, you're loved, right? We don't know you as a person, but we love you as God's children. And here's some money. Go pay your light bill. And when they hear this, they're like, they don't believe it. So it's just, I want to leave this. At the Mighty Strong Foundation, you can help us be the miracle to somebody that needs a miracle. Let me say it again. When you donate to the Mighty Strong Foundation, you can help us be a miracle to someone who needs a miracle this Christmas season.
Love it so much. Thank you so much for everything you've shared today. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you about all the amazing things you're doing in your business, where could they reach you, find out more, and seek out your services?
The best way is to send me a personal email. Just reference Little Give, the Little Give Show. And when they reference that, I know it's your amazing audience. At danielgomezspeaker.com, and connect with us. If whether you want to write a book, or whether you want to become a speaker, or you just want to have a conversation, and or maybe you need prayer. I mean, we do that here also at DG. We just love people. So reach out to us at danielgomezspeaker.com. Send us an email. Just put on the subject line Little Give Show, and we'll know that you're coming from Cindy's community. And we're here to serve you, whether it's whatever it may be: book publishing, speaking, coaching, or just to talk to somebody or pray with somebody. We're open for that.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. Well, everybody out there who's watching today, please do go find out more about his business, reach out, send him an email, see if you can seek out his services, and also get those amazing books. I'm super excited to read my copy, and I hope you will be too. And as far as the nonprofit goes, if you go to the website, find out more. If that's something you're passionate about, please go make a donation. $1 or $5 multiplied by even a small percentage of the audience we have watching today makes a huge impact to nonprofits. We've seen you do it before. Do it again. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you, Daniel, for being on. Could you give us some parting words before we go?
I'll leave this. It's never too late to change. I'm 51 years old, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm still changing every day. The moment you open your mind to receive what God wants to do with you and in your life and in your business, and you're open to change, you can too find that future you that's waiting for you. Let me say again, go out there and find the future you that's waiting for you.
Love it so much. Thanks so much for being on today, Daniel. And thank you, audience, for watching. And we'll see you all next week. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Little Give. If you would like to learn more about how I highlight ordinary people doing extraordinary things to help others, or maybe you'd like to be a guest, or maybe you know a nonprofit that you would like to see featured on a future episode of Little Give, you can find all the information on our website at littlegive.com. If you'd like to get involved with our kindness clip segment, please do send in those videos. Send them via email to cindy@littlegive.com, or you can tag us on any social media under Cindy Whitteman or #LittleGive. If you'd like to know more about our podcast, you can also find us on all major streaming platforms under Little Give Podcast. Please do find our Facebook group under Little Give TV show and join it. We'd love to keep you up to date with future episodes. Thank you all so much for watching, and I can't wait to highlight the next ordinary person doing extraordinary things to help others. See you next time.